The latest Mythic Hero for March 2020 is here. On this Mythic banner, you'll start with an 8% 5-star focus rate, and the non-focus rate is set to 0% permanently. That means if you do get a 5-star hero, it's guaranteed to be one of these 12 heroes on the banner. We'll be taking a look at all of these units in this video, and of course our newest Mythic Hero. Mythic Bramimond is our latest unique unit, and he is definitely a surprise. He is one of the 8 legends of Elib, and is said to have lost his sense of self after fully committing to using Dark Magic. Because of this, his voice changes based on who he speaks with, and in Fae, he has 4 different voice actors, 3 of which represent the same actors for Eliwood, Hector, and Lyn. The 4th is Ray Chase, who voices Roy, but in Japanese the 4th voice actor is the same as Alphonse, who Ray Chase also voices. We'll just have to wait to hear his actual voice lines to see if anything comes out of that. Now, besides having a bunch of different voices, Bramimond is also our very first Colorless Mage. Wrathful Staff users have been called Colorless Mages for a long time, but now we have a proper one. Time to bust out those Raven Tomes. As a unit, Bramimond is a colorless infantry mage, and he is a Dark Mythic Hero that grants bonus attack. Reminder that Dark is a defending element, so keep that in mind. For ode skills, Bramimond comes with Luna as his special. Makes sense since Luna is also a Dark Tome in some games. He will also come with low attack and res, which inflicts -3 attack and resistance on the enemy and negates any of their attack or res field buffs. This is a very good skill and will actually interact with Bramimond's weapon in an odd way. Speaking of which, Bramimond has the Void Tome, which has a really neat animation in game. It's a 14-my tome that grants another +3 attack. Could signal that Bramimond will have high base attack as well. This weapon has 2 effects with different activation conditions. The first says at the start of combat, if foe's attack is greater or equal to 50, or if penalty is active on foe, grants attack, defense, and res +5 to Bramimond during combat. The second effect says at the start of combat, if the foe has 35 or more speed, or if penalty is active on foe, Bramimond makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. Very interesting weapon. So first off, both abilities will proc if the enemy has a penalty on them, so inflicting debuffs or statuses will be the easiest way to ensure Void Tome is active. Bramimond gets a lot of extra damage with +5 attack and a guaranteed follow-up, plus he'll become a bit tankier as well. If you cannot inflict a penalty on the enemy, there is still a chance the Void Tome activates. 50 attack is pretty easy to break for most units, especially any merged up units. This attack check occurs before combat, which means it checks before low attack and res activates. So for example, a unit with 49 attack with a +4 attack buff would actually activate the first effective Void Tome. However, once combat starts, low attack and res kicks in and they lose that attack buff, while Bramimond keeps his +5 attack, defense, and res. Pretty nifty stuff. Regarding the free follow-up attack on units with more than 35 speed, I think this is to give Bramimond the chance to KO more offensive units who generally aren't as tanky. As mentioned earlier, ideally we want debuffs on these enemies, so Void Tome activates both effects. Luckily in Aether Raids, Yoon is another Dark Mythic Hero, and she is the goddess of debuffs who can basically cover half the map by herself. You also got Aversa, the Panic Tower, the Gravity Inflicting Tactics Realm, plus the Bright and Dark Shrines. Lots of ways to debuff attackers, and for anyone trying to bait in Bramimond, he may just kill them first. This is going to lead into Bramimond's unique C skill, Impenetrable Dark. During combat, disables skills of all foes, excluding the foe in combat. What this means is that Bramimond challenges his opponent to a 1v1. They can keep their field buffs, but any in-combat buffs like drives or spurs from teammates are negated. This is a very interesting ability, and I think it's very good for a defender in Aether Raids. Again, as a Dark Mythic Hero, that's kind of Bramimond's job. So if you want to attack him first, you risk not being in reach of your teammates to buff your attacker. However, if you try to bait Bramimond to attack you first, then you cannot rely on support buffers. This includes units like Brave Lucina, Marth, or Male Corn. Peony's long-range attack and speed buffs won't work, and other skills like Infantry Flash are also neutralized. While Impenetrable Dark won't deactivate field buffs, that's where low attack and res come in. Bramimond can attack into units while getting rid of their attack and res buffs, so that could be an issue. Being a colorless mage, you also cannot counter him with the weapon Triangle unless you bring a Raven Tome or similar effect that grants triangle advantage over colorless units. While I'm not sure how strong Bramimond will actually be, just from looking at his base kit, I think he's going to be a really cool unit. Bramimond does introduce a new inheritable skill, Attack and Defense Push 4. At the start of combat, if unit has more than 25% HP, grants Attack and Defense +7 during combat, but if they attack, deal 5 recoil damage. Nothing new here, just another push variant. These are good skills for that first initial fight, but even with 7 extra defense, it's not the greatest long-term tanking skill. The recoil damage will add up. For Bramimond, I think you can see how a 14 might tome with 3 extra attack that can give another +5 attack, and a follow-up works nicely with attack and defense push 4. The extra defense will also make him tougher to take down. For those looking to inherit attack and defense push 4, you can get the first 3 levels from Spring Bruno, who is on the Divine Code's common manual paths, or you can use Heath. That way you can inherit attack and defense push 4 along with low attack and res 3. Overall, I really like what Bramimond offers. Again, not really sure how his stats are gonna look, but I think his kit is interesting, and him being a colorless mage is neat for going even with just about any enemy. That plus impenetrable dark means if you like to use a super support buffer in Aether raids, you may need to be careful if you run into Bramimond. As an infantry unit, I think Bramimond could see some different A skill usage. While I think attack and defense push 4 is fine, I think Sturdy Impact or Mirror Impact would be a strong replacement. If the enemy tries to bait him in, you can deny a follow-up attack, which could help him survive and empower Wings of Mercy strategies. There is also the possibility of close counter. He gets extra defensive stats from Void Tome and can make a follow-up which pairs nicely with low attack and res, since you don't necessarily have to run quick riposte. I think we'll need to see some stats before making any final judgments, but I like what they did with his base kit. Let me know your thoughts on Bramimond in the comments. Alrighty, now we'll take a brief look at the 11 other heroes on this banner. In the red corner we have Mythic Altina, Legendary Roy and Brave Alm. Blue has Peony, Legendary Young Tiki and Fjorm. Green has Thrasir and the stand-wielding duo of Brave Micaiah and Mamori. Colorless will have Bramimond with Legendary Female Grima and Brave Camilla. We got 3 CYO3 units and an assortment of other neat heroes on offer. First off, we have Altina. If you're just coming back to the game, be sure to obtain your free Altina copy before April 10th, I believe. She was the winner of this year's A Hero Rises event, and you must claim her soon. As the winner, it's no surprise Altina is a fantastic unit. The free copy should be great, but a plus attack super boon will boost Altina to even better heights, so some may still want to summon for her. She is a flying sword user that always attacks twice and has distant counter with Ragnar and Alondite. Twin Blades is a 2 cooldown half-powered Glacies and bypasses any % damage reduction effects. Ashura's Chosen protects Altina from archers and gives her extra attack and defense. Along with attack and defense oath for more power and Vantage to counterattack first, she is a very deadly unit both in PvE and PvP. Next we have Legendary Roy, who is a somewhat balanced infantry swordsman. His Dragonbind kills dragons and has distant counter. Human Virtue can buff himself and allies with +6 attack and speed, which can be doubled with bonus doubler, making Roy a very fun unit. He's not insane, but just a very solid, easy to use unit. I think Human Virtue is a very good skill as well. Last in the group is Brave Alm, another dragon killing infantry swordsman. Alm can get a bunch of extra stats from Draco Falchion when near more enemies than allies. He also just deals a ton of damage thanks to Sen's Scale, which deals true damage equal to 25% of Alm's attack stat. He will take a lot of recoil damage, but the man can just one-shot many squishy units. He has Chill Defense to soften up the highest defense enemies, and Threat Attack and Speed 3, which is also very deadly if it procs. It's not bad on Alm, but personally I think it's a very dangerous skill for army units and can make them tougher to bait in. It gives the user a +10 speed advantage, which can definitely change a matchup. Overall, not the highest amount of good skills for inheriting, but there are some good ones, like bonus doubler, attack and defense oath, and threat attack and speed. Next is the blue group, and we have another unit everyone can get. You can get a free Peony just by completing chapter 1 in book 4, and she is a dancer, so that neutral copy will serve just fine. Peony does have some good skills for inheriting, blue dual flying to help with arena score, aerobatics is a fun mobility skill, and fortify res 4 is just a straight upgrade to its predecessor. +7 res is also very helpful these days. Next we have Legendary Young Tiki. She is an armored dragon and just one of those units that can be extremely annoying to take down. Her Divine Mist is effective against dragons and has distant counter built in. She has Fierce Breath for extra special cooldown and Bold Fighter to have powerful initiations. To top it off, her unique with everyone's skill buffs Tiki and adjacent allies with +5 defense and res because she wasn't already hard enough to KO. Lots of stats and is decently fast as well. Last up is Fjorm, hey, another free unit. You can get a free copy of Fjorm from book 2, and she's an interesting defensive lance unit thanks to Ice Mirror being able to return some damage taken. Intelligent Systems just seems to hate defensive specials, so Shield Pulse is still incredibly rare. You can make some interesting setups, but the power of offensive specials is just too good. Regarding the blue group, considering it has 2 units everyone can get for free, It's probably not a high priority color for most players. There are some nice skills available though, plus Legendary Tiki is a monster. Moving on to green, we have Mythic Thrasier, a very scary green infantry mage. Thrasier can attack twice in a row if her killing intent skill is active. She needs to attack a weakened enemy or one with a penalty on them, but she does get a ton of damage and speed while doing so. She can easily proc Flashing Blade 4 twice to get 2 doses of true damage, plus a Moonbow special on top, and this is before the enemy can counter back. She requires a little bit of setup, but is a very fun mage, and her tome is also effective against dragons, just because. Flashing Blade 4 and Panic Smoke are great skills, and are the best ones up for grabs. Next is Brave Micaiah, who is a green flying mage. Micaiah has good attack and dual effectiveness against armored units and cavaliers. She also gets a bonus to each of her stats if the enemy has a debuff on said stat value. With her unique Yoon's Whisper skill, Micaiah can inflict a sabotage attack and speed debuff to take advantage of her weapon's effect. Her sacrifice skill also allows her to heal an ally and remove stat debuffs. Attack and Res Bond 4 grants a plus 7 attack and res while adjacent to an ally, and negates any attack and res debuffs. As for ground orders, this skill has impressed me a lot recently. I made a new defense team for 8th raids playing around Brave Micaiah and this skill, and holy cow is it effective in messing up attackers. Giving non-flyers the ability to warp around the team is so dang powerful, especially for ranged units. It has given me some dirty defense wins. Last up we have Momodi, a green axe army unit that is very comparable to Legendary Hector since her Mirage axe is basically a stronger Thunder Armance. If near an ally, Momodi gets plus 6 defense and res and prevents a follow-up attack, and with one of the highest defense stats in the game, it means she is incredibly tough to take down. With Vengeful Fighter, she is a monster defensive unit. Her A skill is Shield Session, which I'm guessing is not going to appear again unless we get another Tokyo Mirage Sessions banner. It can grant up to a massive plus 9 defense and res, but only if Momodi is attacked by the first enemy to move. If it's the second or third enemy, that bonus goes down to plus 6 and then plus 3. Not a bad skill in the hands of the player, but there are other just as good defensive options out there. Overall, green is a pretty good group here, 3 great units and some very nice skills on offer. Last up is the Colorless crew. We talked about Bramimond already, but he has 2 good skills to steal should you get unwanted copies. Attack and Defense Push 4 is brand new, and low attack and res is great for magical damage dealers. Second, we have Legendary Female Grima, still the only colorless flying dragon, and like Bramimond, she is pretty unique. Her balanced stat line with her unique dragon skin skill that protects her from arrows makes Grima an interesting unit for a flyer team. She also has distant counter from exploration, so she can fight off enemy type. Her best skill to inherit is Res Smoke with its AoE -7 res debuff. That would be great for heavy magic damage teams. Last unit for today is Brave Camilla, who represents what is essentially a colorless mage already. She is a flying healer, but Camilla is an incredibly potent offensive unit, thanks to good attack and speed stats, a staff that grants extra attack and speed, and she has attack and speed push 4. She also has the Wrathful Staff and Dazzling Staff combo, which means she can prevent counterattacks and hit for full damage. Her staff will inflict gravity to the enemy and adjacent foes, so she can be a daily hit and run type unit. Brave Camilla is pretty much the most offensive healer you can ask for. Overall, not a bad group for anyone trying to get Bramimond. You got some very unique units and a couple of nice skills as well. That wraps up this video. Sorry I've been gone for a bit, but as I'm sure you've heard, the world is kind of on lockdown at the moment, and I've been playing a bit too much Animal Crossing. In the world of Fae, I do believe we are due for a Fae channel, probably happening today if you're watching this video the day it's been released. We have maintenance going on as well, so finish up any challenges or summoning sessions. The April Fae channel has historically been the one to bring any summoning pool changes, so it's a pretty big deal. Probably going to be a bunch of stuff to cover in the next couple of days, so stay tuned. Let me know your thoughts on this mythic banner and Bramimond, our first colorless mage. Will we get more colorless mages in the future, or maybe this is a rare one-off thing? Perhaps there's still the chance for the gauntlet weapons to get added. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys soon.